Hi, this is Ross Harrison from Precision Health and Fitness, and today I am going to talk about the crunch. So first I'll actually say the crunch is not one of my favorite ab exercises or most used, especially not the floor one. There's some other ones like crunch with like a BOSU or a ball or things like that. It's definitely much more effective. But the floor crunch is a great way to sort of make sure that your upper abs are working correctly. And it's another one of those exercises that's really simple in theory, but it's very easy to do wrong, to use different muscles, involve the back, the neck in unhealthy ways. But when done correctly, it's actually can be a really good exercise for your neck. Although there are a lot of machines to do crunches that actually make it worse for your neck. So I'm going to show you a way to learn how to use your upper abs correctly and also strengthen your cervical spine and your neck. And essentially once this skill is learned, you can take it into every other upper abdominal exercise that you do. So first, starting position, I like to have at least, well, usually I like to have people have both knees bent. If both legs are straight, you can definitely put more stress on your back. At least have one knee bent. It's easy just to do both. So really, the crunch, and a crunch is not a sit-up. It's not, we're not trying to come up and do anything like that. It's really, your whole focus is just the upper abs, just sort of like right from the top ribs, just down there, not even going all the way down here. So again, there are definitely abdominal exercises that use a greater amount of your abdominal muscles. For the sake of this and for learning, it really is focus upper. Don't try to get your lower involved, just try to keep it here. And the movement itself is pretty simple. It's just coming up, like for me, okay, if I'm really doing a crunch as well as I can, that's probably the top of my range of motion. I can go higher, but I didn't do that with my abs. I did that with my back and I felt like my hips kick in and some other stuff. But if just these muscles are working, that's as high as I go. And back down. So, okay, the first thing, and to be perfectly honest, when people start doing crunches, it's usually the neck that's the limiting factor, not the abs. But then as the neck gets strengthened in a healthy way, then you can do them without any neck problems whatsoever. So rule number one, do not support your head with your hands. The reason being is that just lets your muscles not do any work. If you do a crunch and you feel pain in the back of your neck, that is a very bad thing, and it essentially means that the muscles in your neck aren't strong enough to support your head. So the question is, so what do we do if that happens? Unfortunately, what a lot of the fitness industry has done is said, well, let's make something that supports your head so you don't have to worry about it and you can use your abs. In theory, that's okay, but it just means that things that should be strong up here are going to continually get weaker because they're not going to be used. So my goal is to actually use those things and get them stronger so you can do a crunch well. And the simple trick is put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, just sort of behind your front teeth, and apply a little pressure against the roof of your mouth. And obviously, if I'm doing that, I can't talk, so I won't talk for a minute, but I will do that. And when doing that, you should actually feel some muscle tension in the front of your neck kick in. So if you're doing a crunch, you'll know it's working, and if the neck's really weak or if those muscles really haven't been trained, you may actually still have some discomfort in the back of your neck when you're doing a crunch. If that happens, well, usually it doesn't, actually. So if that happens, we'll skip that one, but basically if it happens, you can support your neck a little bit with your hands, but try to get those muscles involved as much as possible. Then over time as they get stronger, you won't need to use your hands at all. But if you're really supporting with your hands, it's not going to work. What typically happens is people do a crunch, they feel some tension in the back of their neck, put the tongue on the roof of the mouth, do it again, that tension often goes away, but it gets tired in the front of the neck. Tension in the front of the neck is a good thing, and because those are the muscles that help support the neck and the cervical spine and protect your neck. sort of like your abs do with your lower spine. So when you've got that involved, and you're doing crunches, and the good news is when it gets strong enough, you don't actually have to always have the tongue in the roof of your mouth, and your neck will still support you. So like I don't feel the back of my neck right now. It's these muscles are working. If I put the tongue in the roof of my mouth, they just work even more. So as you're doing this, what often will happen, you get partway through the set, the abs feel like they're working, but your neck is done. And if the muscles in the front of the neck are too tired to continue, then you're done with the set. And that's it. It's whenever your weakest muscle gives out, then you stop. And with the crunch, a lot of times the weakest muscle is the neck. But it actually gets stronger pretty quickly. So just by keeping the tongue in the roof of the mouth and focusing on strengthening this, over time, you'll get to a point where you can exhaust your abs, and the neck is just, it works better. And it's stronger, and once it gets sort of to a threshold point and it gets strong enough and you get enough endurance, then it no longer becomes an issue. Unless you're doing something really challenging that has weight like against your head. But so it's a great tool, like it's great for neck pain, it's great for teaching your abs how to work. But just going back to the actual exercise, assuming that the neck's not the problem, then it really is, tension should start here and sort of come down as the crunch goes up. One of the many things to watch out for, and I see this a lot, where before the upper body even moves, you see like the pelvis rotate. The pelvis rotates back, just push down, the lower abs tense. If your lower abs are tensing before you start your crunch, it means that you're using muscles down here to help support you. In many exercises, that's actually a good thing. But for the sake of teaching your brain what your upper abs do, we actually want to minimize that and ideally take it out. So try, when it works the best, tension starts here, you come up, and muscle tension doesn't really change from lower abs, hips, legs, or anything else. Like I've even seen people almost push with their legs as they start a crunch. The more activity you have in your lower body, or even in your lower abs at the beginning of the crunch, generally it either means your brain can't separate the two, or the upper abs are just that weak so they're asking help even before you start. So that's also a great way to know how you're progressing as far as overall core function, especially when it comes to connecting your brain to your core. And with core work, the brain is very important, almost more so than any other, well, than at least a lot of the bigger muscle exercises. The better your mind is tied to your muscles, you get so much more out of your ab work, and your back is a lot healthier, posture's better, just pretty much all the benefits that go with core, a lot of it have to do with how well your brain is connected to your muscles. So that's the reason that this is a good exercise, because it really helps figure out how well your brain is tied into your upper abs. And just if you can do a bunch of these and you're not feeling it too much, there's so many ways to make this tougher. Just simple ones, even without adding weight. If you put your hands up, and then the further your hands go back, if your hands are over your head, that's significantly tougher than just having your hands at your sides or on your stomach. You can obviously add weight or any other things, and then of course there's tons and tons of different other exercises that can use your upper abs and other abs. But that's the crunch. It's simple. It really is just a teaching tool, in my opinion, to really get in tune with your upper abs and try to cut everything else out. And that skill of being able to be really tuned into your upper abs will come in handy in so many other exercises, and it'll pay off not just during the exercises, but also functionally throughout your life. So there's the crunch. You think of it as an education tool that will be incorporated in a bunch of things later, and we will get to a lot of those other exercises in the future. So thanks for watching. See you soon.